Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Trash for Football, and today we're going to be discussing my early college football 26 wish list. Earlier this week, the Everything EA College Football account confirmed the development of College Football 26 just 4 months after the game's successful release, so without further ado, let's get into it. At number 1, I have High School in Road to Glory. When the College Football 25 details were announced in the late spring, it was confirmed that the Road to Glory mode would return with the series' re-debut. But when further details about the mode were released, we found out that we were only able to play the 4 years of college with no high school whatsoever. It came as a huge disappointment to both me and the many fans of the college football video game series, as we had high school and Road to Glory back in NCAA 14. But based off of Everything EA College Football Twitter account, the high school football will return in College Football 26. That isn't officially confirmed by EA, but this is a good insider account that I trust. Go follow him on Twitter. And on top of that, I would also like to see more positions that you can play with in Road to Glory. Since we were only limited to quarterback, running back, wide receiver, linebacker, and cornerback, I'd like to see safety, left or right outside linebacker, or even fullback or kicker, as well as the inclusion of mini camps for your players during the preseason to help decide your overall. Create a conference. In College Football 25, you are fully able to customize your conference. If you want to kick Texas and Oklahoma out of the SEC and back into the Big 12, or completely reorganize all conferences, you can do that too. But that's not what I mean. I think we need a little extra ability to create conference. Do you want to bring back the Big 8? Maybe make the Pac-10, bring back the Big East? I want to be able to do all of these things, or make a custom Rust Belt conference with all the teams up north, make your own logo. And you can even bring in the ability of a image manager, just like the WWE and NBA 2K video game franchises do. I think that would be a big help to the creativity of your Dynasty modes with your team builder teams. Perhaps you can make your own conference right there with all your team builder teams. I think that that's something the EA really needs to do. That's a need. Up next, we have the inclusion of FCS Teams. This is a subject that I discussed in last year's wishlist video, and it still stands for this wishlist. FCS Teams have been teased as an inclusion for this game, and that has gotten many hardcore fans excited. I am tired of facing the same FCS generic teams every single game, although it was cool to see the inclusion of the mascots of current YouTubers NCAA 14 team builder teams, like good friend of the channel, not the experts, UGF Pandas being the FCS Southeast Pandas. I do think it's time to bring in the FCS schools though. There's going to be 136 FBS teams, with the inclusion of Missouri State and Delaware being brought up to the FBS level. There will also be 128 teams in the FCS level next year, which would bring a total of 264 teams. The PS2 NCAA games also included the FCS teams in their old titles. So can EA do it? I believe that they can. Will they do it? Probably not, but we shall see. Up next, we have historical and all-time rosters. With the inclusion of NIL deals that include all your favorite college football players, there is no reason to not believe a historical team's roster couldn't be included. I remember also back in the early PS2 games, you could have the all-time rosters and yearly rosters for when that team was good. For instance, in the old NCAA games, you had the Florida Gators all-time team, which had Steve Spurrier, Danny Werfel, Rex Grossman, Eric Rett, Emmett Smith, Jack Youngblood, and so much more. I want to be able to simulate these teams in games against other historical teams, for either video's sake or just for fun. You can run tournaments, you can do one-on-ones with your friends or offline. I would also like to see the ability to bring them into Dynasty. Do you want to bring the 2019 LSU Tigers into Dynasty, a team that never saw the light of day in a college football video game except for NCAA Revamped? Up next, we have more Dynasty Simulation capabilities. I'm going to keep this one short and sweet. But when you go to weekly schedules, you can see all the games being played that week from all your conferences. But you only have the ability to force home win, force away win, or reset. I want to be able to simulate these games one by one like you could do in NCAA 14. Just a way to check the games you only really care about before simming to the next week. The suspense of seeing who is going to win is a nice touch that really needs to be re-added. Dynasty punishments. Now, this is a subject that I believe I discussed in the last wishlist video, but it's if a player is below the GPA needed to play, or maybe skipped practice, or they went out and partied, maybe got into a fight. We as a coach should be able to have the ability to choose if you want to punish the said player and how severe the punishment is, with an ability for if the player is punished severely, they have a chance of transferring at the end of the season, thinking that you were too harsh. Or if you don't punish these players enough to the fullest extent, the rest of your team thinks that you're not doing your job as head coach and you're also at risk of losing your team leaders. Just an idea. I think that could be polished on a little bit. But let me know in the comments down below how you would work that. Up next, we have classic game moments. I also remember in the old NCAA games, and even the old Madden games, you can go back and replay some of the most exciting game endings from that season, and see if you can complete the challenges that team had to do to overcome that said game. Now, I'm pretty sure that this feature was included, but it was only locked to Ultimate Team, and it really wasn't set up that great. You could only play as one player, and the rest of your team was, well, your Ultimate Team cards. And I know that a lot of people hate Ultimate Team, and that's understandable as somebody who's played a little bit of Ultimate Team. So I think that this feature needs to be its own separate game mode, separate from College Ultimate Team. I want to be able to recreate the kick six in the 2013 Iron Bowl, or maybe even recreate Ezekiel Elliott running through the heart of the South in the 2015 Sugar Bowl. Just small things like that. Maybe make a leaderboard, play it on the hardest difficulty, add new games each week from the real-life college football season. That is something that a lot of the fans can incorporate themselves with, and also EA can use that as an ability for people to keep coming back week after week after week, instead of using your Game of the Week cards in Ultimate Team that do absolutely nothing. Up next, we have a fan favorite, Mascot Mashup, a fan favorite of the NCAA football series of the 2010s, with the inclusion of everyone's favorite mascots all on the football field for a classic 11-on-11 football game. With special moves such as front flips and special spin moves, it brings a more light and comedic arcadey mood to your football gameplay. I would love to see this in College Football 26, as well as every team's mascots being included in the game on the sidelines and or Mascot Mashup, as long as they have a mascot with their university. I also want to be able to celebrate on the sidelines with your mascot like you could in NCAA 11. Please, EA, bring that back. Up next, we have the trophy case. We all remember in the NCAA football games, we can track our rivalry trophies, ball trophies, and even personal player awards in the said trophy case for both Dynasty, Road to Glory, and Heisman mode. I'd like to be able to track all of my personal players that I've recruited 15 years down the line in my personal Florida dynasties, and see the Heisman trophies and the best linebacker and the Nagurski trophies and all the sorts. I want to be able to track all that. Sometimes I forget the names and I have to screenshot them on my PlayStation, and then I don't have enough space to download any more games because I have so much clips and snapshots. So EA, bring back the trophy case. That is a beloved feature from the old NCAA games that not a lot of people talked about how much they loved, but a lot of people wish that it were here now that it's gone. Up next, we have 2v2 and 3v3 mode. This is a mode that's only included in College Ultimate Team mode, and I wish that you can just be able to do normal squads online like in the Road to College Football Playoff mode, teaming up with your best friends against random people, or even against your other friends. Do a 2-on-2 or 3-on-3 with your friend group. I would love to be able to see that, and also I think that that's good for online non-Ultimate Team, because when you do Ultimate Team squads, you have to deal with your team's players and your partner's team's players. Are they going to be good? Are they not? Who's calling plays? Who's not? Who's going to be the quarterback? Whatever. It all depends on if you did the challenges or spent a crap load of money on the game. And last but not least, my biggest issue that needs to be fixed: defensive overhaul. The entirety of the defense of College Football 25 is almost broken. Tackles are constantly missed, pursuit angles to tackle doesn't work at all, and man, this one has really made me mad. The player switch is the worst I've ever seen on defense out of any football game that I've ever played. Worse than Madden. It is really, really bad. If I am playing on the D-line, which I like to do because I can't play linebacker to save my own life. And the quarterback of the opposite team starts to scramble. I try and switch to a linebacker. Oh, I accidentally switched to a safety. Oh, I accidentally switched to a corner. Oh, I'm accidentally back on the D-line. And by the time I switch to the linebacker to tackle the quarterback, he's already in the end zone scoring. That is a complete issue that needs to be not only overhauled, but I mean completely redone. It is a wonder how the game made it out of beta with issues like that. I have constantly given up so many touchdowns both in my personal dynasty and online in the Road to College Football Playoff mode purely just because you can never switch on to the correct player that you need to make the tackle. It has been my absolute biggest gripe with College Football 25, and I will be deeply disappointed if it isn't fixed in College Football 26. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching today's video. I want to say shout out to all the Patreon members that you see on the screen today. They help support this channel financially. The link is in the description down below. A lot of new exciting things coming for the Patreon later. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Just be patient on that. I hope you guys all have a wonderful day. Enjoy your college football Saturday, and I will see you guys later.